I might footnote right here that one of those companies was American International Group, that I identified explicitly, Maurice Hank Greenberg, and it's necessary to identify him because there's a lot of people don't realize Maurice Hank Greenberg has 400 planes of his own, and Greenberg rented out every one of those planes to the CIA in order to conduct extraordinary rendition flights to torture-friendly countries like Syria, Egypt, and Israel, and other places to torture innocent peoples that were abducted in Iraq and Afghanistan by this phony war on terror. So what's important here to understand that, in my mind, there's no question in my mind that even as we talk right now, there is the president of Spain is right now the attorney general. They're looking to indict 6 prominent members of the Bush administrations for torture. There's people within their own administrations that are defecting, bailing out, knowing that that the whole world is now really looking, since that all these the Bush administration has become nothing but citizens like you and I, that the whole world is getting ready to focus on getting these people for this bogus war and the torture that they committed. Now, in my own mind, my mind, just as well as every other mind, and I was just looking at an excellent documentary that was put up by my brother there, my dear brother who's listening right now, DJ Ball, and it was put out by Conspirituality called Ambush. And if you get a chance, check that out because it's an excellent music video. It shows all the images that have been seared in every one of our minds of the outright brutal illegal abductions and seizures by these fascist soldiers that pulling people out of their houses, Iraqis and Afghanis, and taking them into Abu Ghraib and Bagram and eventually to Guantanamo Bay. And how many of us have seen pictures of the hooding and the pictures of the waterboarding and the pictures of the stressed positions and the naked bodies and the complete horrors and violations of the Geneva Conventions of the tortures that were perpetuated by this administration? What happened to us as a people, as a nation and nations around the world with this 8 years of this Bush administration, was that we went from the rule of law was totally denigrated, fell down a slippery slope to the complete rule of tyranny. And we have, and if we at all as a people, with the Patriot Act and the dissolution of our rights under the constitutional rights and the Bill of Rights and every other civil right that we have as human beings and human rights, if we are to maintain a position of the rule of law, that is necessary for us to arrest and detain these people, indict them, and bring them before a war crimes tribunal similar to that of the Nazi war crimes tribunal in 1940s. So what happened was, when I got to Calgary, on the 17th, there was a major demonstration formulated. There was about 700 of us that got together. It was a very spirited demonstration. People, a broad coalition of people, anti-war activists, peace and justice. Many people from many different groups to come together to demand that Bush be banned from coming into the country. But when he did come in, they were demanding at that spot that he be arrested. Now, I went up to approximately 200 RCMPs during the course of the first hour that I was there. Twice I asked them, according to the law, that was, and I actually read them out the law relative to Bush being Bush needing to be arrested under the laws that were laid out by the Lawyers Against the War. And each time I was told by the RCMP that if I attempted an arrest, because they weren't going to do it, and if I attempted an arrest, that I would be arrested. But then I told them, well, when I come back out a third time, you can be assured that I'm going to come through this line, and I am going up there to arrest this man. I said, this guy's a war criminal. I said, he's one of many war criminals that need to be apprehended and detained and put in jail and charged with torture. And that's just for starters. And so on the third attempt, I came back and I asked him, I told him, I said, you're not letting me through, and you're not going over there to arrest George Bush. You should, Canada, you should be ashamed of yourself. I said, and so it says, I'm coming through this line. And then if you look at Nathan Moulton's, or if you go to YouTube and you plug in "Splitter in the Sky," Arrested, you'll see that. Or else, if you go to my website, splitterthesky.net, or warcriminalsout.com, which was put up by a good friend of mine, Wayne Pronte, from the Vancouver area. It's an excellent site, and it lays out all the law, and it also shows you all the films relative to that date.